NASCAR has a rich history, but what most people don't know about the sport is that there are more series and different racing series in NASCAR. In almost any sport, they have what is called the minor leagues. In baseball and hockey, you have different leagues that you participate in. Everyone is battling to ultimately get to the big leagues, and it's every man or team for itself. NASCAR is no different. NASCAR also has their own version of the minor leagues. The pipeline to get to the NASCAR Cup Series is this. Usually, drivers will start racing when they are young and in dirt racing or some sort of street car racing. If drivers are good enough, then they will usually go up into the ARCA Menards West or ARCA Menards East series, which are the very low levels of stock car racing. After that, drivers will then go to the ARCA Menards series, where you can start driving full-time at the age of 18. If you are successful enough in the ARCA Menards series, then drivers usually go to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's interesting that drivers go to this series as a stepping stone, especially since that drivers are driving in a truck and not a normal stock car. This is where NASCAR gets really competitive. Fans all around agree that the Truck Series has some of the best racing you will see. The next series after the Truck Series is the Xfinity Series. This is seen as one step away from getting into the NASCAR Cup Series. This time, drivers are back to driving normal stock cars. This series is very competitive, and drivers are always searching to get to the Cup Series. After that, you are in the NASCAR Cup Series, which is the main series that races almost every Sunday and what you would think of when you see NASCAR. There are, however, other NASCAR racing series that do deviate from the normal pipeline of how drivers get to the Cup Series. Some of these other series include the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Series, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in Europe, the NASCAR Peak Mexico Series all across Mexico, and then the NASCAR Canada Series. These are different racing series that are unique. While most of the time drivers from these series don't end up going to the traditional NASCAR Cup Series pipeline, they do end up leaving a legacy. But make no mistake, these series have great racing. But today, I'll be talking about one of these racing series. And since having been in Canada for the last 2 years, I want to talk about the history of the NASCAR Canada Series. The NASCAR Canada Series started out as the Cascar Super Racing Series. Its inaugural season was in 1986. This would quickly become the premier stock car racing series in Canada. The series would go all over Canada, and they would race all over the provinces of Ontario and Quebec, and they would go out to New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. During this time, the Cascar Racing Series would become very competitive, and many different drivers would win the Cascar Championship. During the Cascar Racing Series' 20-year history, the driver who won the championship the most would be driver Don Thompson Jr. He would win the championship for 5 consecutive seasons from 2001 to 2005. The last series champion would be J.R. Fitzpatrick in 2006, who would end up cruising to the series title. After the 2006 season, the series would be changed forever after it was announced in September 2006 that NASCAR would officially sanction the Cascar Super Series. With this announcement, it would also be revealed that a deal was signed for the store Canadian Tire to sponsor the series, and that also TSN signed a deal to broadcast every race on live TV. The very first race of the newly organized NASCAR Canadian Tire Series was held on Saturday, May 26th, 2007. The race would be held at the Cayuga International Speedway in Hamilton, Ontario. The race saw DJ Kennington starting on the pole. Almost immediately, DJ Kennington would lose the lead and be passed by Don Thompson Jr. The first caution of the race would be for debris on lap 5 from the number 71 of Brian Cathcart. The race would restart and the caution would come out again on lap 22 for a spin from the number 50 of Joey McComb. The race restarts, but not for too long, for another caution on lap 29 for another spin by the 50 of Joey McComb. On lap 43, another caution would be displayed for the spinning cars of the number 12 of John Gaunt and the number 25 of Jim Lapsovich. On the restart, Mark Dilley would take the lead. the number 39 of Dave Whitlock would stall on lap 98, bringing out another caution. 2 laps later, another caution would come out for a crash mainly involving the number 11 of Ron Vanis and the number 02 of Kerry Mix. Don Thompson Jr. would eventually regain the lead on lap 122. A caution then came out on lap 132 for the cars of Jim Lapsevich and Bob Merrifield. Ron Beauchamp Jr. would then take the lead on lap 140. Yet another caution came out on lap 167 for a crash involving Brad Graham and Jeff Lapsevich. Fast forward to lap 182, and there's another caution due to a spin from the number 10 of Doug Brown. Don Thompson Jr. would regain the lead on lap 187. Another caution came out on lap 190 for multiple drivers. On lap 195, race-winning contender Ron Beauchamp Jr. would crash with the number 22 of Scott Steckley and crash out of the race. Don Thompson Jr. would end up winning the very first race in the history of the NASCAR Canada Series. The 2007 season saw driver Andrew Ranger pulling out the championship win. For 2008, the championship winner would be Scott Steckley. In 13 races, he would score 4 wins, 9 top 5s, and 9 top 10s, and he had an average finish of 6.5. Andrew Ranger would take hold of the series in 2009 and destroy the field. In 13 races, he scored 6 wins, 8 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, meaning that he finished in the top 10 in every single race that season. He would also end the season with a 4.0 average finish and would win the championship by a huge 167-point lead. DJ Kennington won the championship series in 2010. His stats in 13 races were 5 wins, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and an average finish of 5.5. The 2011 series saw the series go from 13 races to 12 races this season. This season saw Scott Steckley take the series title. He won 3 races, had 9 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. The 2012 season was a really competitive season. This season saw DJ Kennington win his 2nd championship. However, it was no easy task. Despite winning 7 races this season, he had fierce competition from J.R. Fitzpatrick and Andrew Ranger, who both had average finishes of 4.9, and Fitzpatrick even led more laps than DJ Kennington, but they couldn't secure wins. The 2013 season came down to a close championship title match between DJ Kennington and Scott Steckley. Despite Steckley winning 4 races, Kennington was just as consistent. In the end, it came down to the wire in the very last race at Kawartha Speedway in Fraserville, Ontario. The race would see Scott Steckley winning the race and leading way more laps than DJ Kennington. DJ Kennington would end up finishing the race in 4th place. Scott Steckley, however, would barely edge out Kennington by 2 points to win the championship. The 2014 NASCAR Canada Series season was yet another exciting season. The highlight of this season was a massive crash suffered by driver Xavier Kubel. Fast forward to the final race of the season, and it's coming down to the wire once again. After the 10th race of the season, LP Dumoulin would lead the point standings by 16 points over J.R. Fitzpatrick. The last season of the race was once again held at the Kawartha Speedway. J.R. Fitzpatrick would start on the pole and dominate the race. J.R. Fitzpatrick would lead 171 of the 250 laps and win the race. Despite this dominating performance, it was not enough to win the championship. J.R. Fitzpatrick would lose the championship to LP Dumoulin by 3 points. LP Dumoulin's 10th place finish was enough to win the championship. The 2015 NASCAR Canada Series came down to the wire. After the 10th race of the season, Scott Steckley was leading the point standings by 9 points over Jason Hathaway and Andrew Ranger. Coming into the last race of the season at Kawartha Speedway, Steckley would start 1st, Hathaway would start 4th, and Ranger would start 10th. Steckley would lead early until he was passed by Jason Hathaway on lap 48. Hathaway never looked back and won the race in dominating fashion. However, it was not enough to win the championship. Scott Steckley would barely win the championship by 4 points over Jason Hathaway. Another important piece of news also happened in 2015. On February 17, 2015, it was announced that Canadian Tire would not renew its contract to be the title sponsor for the NASCAR Canada Series. Instead, Pinty's Delicious Foods would sign a deal to become the title sponsor for the series. The 2016 season championship would be won by Caden Lapsevich. It was not even close. His stats in 12 races are 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s, tens, and an average finish of 3.4. The only other driver that had any chance of beating Lapsevich was Alex Tagliani. His stats are on par with Lapsevich, and he would have been right up there battling for the championship. However, Tagliani did not race in the first race of the season and therefore could not regain enough points to fight for the championship. The 2017 NASCAR Canada Series championship would be won by Alex Labbe, who would later race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. His stats in 2017 in 13 races were 5 wins, 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and an average finish of 4.2. He would win the series title over Kevin Lacroix by 16 points. For the 2018 NASCAR Canada Series season, there would be a new track added to the schedule. The NASCAR Canada Series would race outside of Canada for the first time. They would be headed to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in September of 2018. Back to the racing itself, with one race in the season after New Hampshire, it was a neck-and-neck battle between LP Dumoulin and Alex Tagliani. Dumoulin would head into the final race at Ohswekan by 4 points ahead of Tagliani. In that race, neither driver performed too well. However, Dumoulin's 10th place finish would be enough points over Tagliani's 13th place finish to win the championship by only 7 points. In 2019, the NASCAR Canada Series would have yet another close championship battle. Heading into the final race of the season at Ohswekan, Andrew Ranger would hold an 11-point lead over Kevin Lacroix. Lacroix would initially start off great by winning the pole, and he would lead 102 laps. However, he would fall back and finish in 5th place. Finishing in front of him would be Andrew Ranger. This allowed Andrew Ranger to win the 2019 NASCAR Canada Series title by 11 points. The 2020 NASCAR Canada Series season was looking to be a great one. This time, the series would head to Ohswekan Speedway for the series' first ever dirt race. However, we all know what happened in 2020. Because of the worldwide pandemic, the schedule had to be totally revamped. This series would end up having 6 races across 3 weekends. The series would have 2 races per weekend and would race at 3 different racetracks, those being Sunset Speedway, Ohswekan Speedway, and Flamborough Speedway, a track that wasn't even supposed to be on the schedule. After 6 races, Jason Hathaway would emerge victorious after winning 3 of the 6 races on the schedule and win the championship. The NASCAR Canada Series would continue to be affected by the pandemic while heading into the 2021 season. The 2021 season would have 10 races and would have more racetracks added onto the schedule again, such as Circuit Icar, Circuit des Trois Rivières, and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. However, the schedule would also have repeat races. Both Sunset Speedway and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park would have 2 races each, and after being absent on the 2020 schedule, Delaware Speedway would have a whopping 3 races to end the season. The 2021 season was once again a competitive season. Coming into the last race of the season at Delaware Speedway, LP Dumoulin held a 7-point lead over Alex Tagliani. Dumoulin and Tagliani both qualified poorly and weren't really competitive or factors all day. Actually, Tagliani did not show up whatsoever and finished a dismal 17th place, while Dumoulin finished in 6th place to win the championship. The 2022 season would return to a normal schedule and would feature the NASCAR Canada Series, going back to familiar racetracks such as Exhibition Place, Edmonton International Raceway, and Sutherland Automotive Speedway in Saskatoon. The series even made it over to Eastbound Speedway in Avondale, Newfoundland. The series also had its long-awaited dirt race at Ohswekan Speedway. Marc-Antoine Camirand would pop off and win the championship by 27 points over second place Kevin Lacroix. Camirand's 2022 stats were 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and an average finish of 5.6. The 2023 NASCAR Canada Series season was dominated by Trayton Lapsevich. It was not even close. He won the championship in dominating fashion, winning by 67 points. His stats were 7 wins, 11 top 5s, 14 top 10s, and an average finish of 2.6. The 2024 NASCAR Canada Series season, with 1 race left to go, saw Marc-Antoine Camirand leading the points by 22 points over second place Kevin Lacroix. Wow. How has Kevin Lacroix not even won a championship yet? We are talking about him almost every season. Anyways, the series finale was at Autodromo Montmagny Speedway. Camirand would start in 8th place and Lacroix would start in 2nd place. Kevin Lacroix would dominate the race and he would lead 175 laps. Lacroix would win the race and Camirand finished in 6th place. This would not be enough for Kevin Lacroix though. Marc-Antoine Camirand would be the 2024 NASCAR Canada Series champion by 10 points over Kevin Lacroix. The 2025 season would once again see Marc-Antoine Camirand head into the final race at Autodromo Speedway as the points leader. Second place points leader DJ Kennington would be trailing Camirand by 14 points. In the race, Camirand would win the race and the championship, and DJ Kennington could do nothing. Kennington would finish the race in 5th place. And that's the history of the obscure NASCAR Canada Series. The NASCAR Canada Series provides an alternative from the other NASCAR series. It's an exciting and fun series that highlights different parts of Canada and is a sleeper series. I'm Calvin Fuller, and thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.